Howdy friendos, my name is Stuart and welcome to the first of our MIB videos. Now many of you are probably asking, wait a minute, is there a Men in Black movie coming out soon, or is Stuart just stalling for time so he can build a catalog of videos for the next few weeks? Well, you'll be happy to know that one of those assumptions are probably correct, but let's not dwell on that right now. Today we'll be looking at the first of our two extraterrestrial border control agents, and that is the veteran and grizzled Agent K, played by the ever-fantastic Tommy Lee Jones. Oh, also Thanos in the third movie?
I am inevitable.
Agent K was born Kevin Brown and was raised in the 1940s. As a young man, he grew up in Truro, Massachusetts, and he had a closer relationship with his father and grandfather, and was relatively easygoing and laid back. Whenever a stressful situation would occur, they would eat pie in order to clear their mind and in order to think about what to do next carefully. However, on March 2nd, 1961, he, along with 8 other government agents, made first contact with alien lifeforms known as the Baltians outside of New York City. According to the cartoon, Kay was not originally a member of the organization, but was in fact just a civilian who was visiting his girlfriend at the time. Neat? After this chance encounter, he chose to become an agent, leaving his life behind, becoming Agent K. What's interesting about Agent K as a character in this regard is that there's a ton about his early life that we simply don't know about. A bunch of his backstory was fleshed out in the cartoon, but the canonicity of the cartoon is tenuous at best. The fan wiki says it's canon, while Wikipedia says it's an AU, and it contradicts a lot of Men in Black 2. I'm choosing to think that maybe some backstory elements are true in the cartoon, but we're just not going to cover the events of that series today, if just for the sake of brevity. I mean, we've got a new editor on board today, and I really don't want to overwhelm them. Say hello!
Woozle Wuzzle?
Also, maybe this is a mistake, but time travel and alternate timelines are also involved in this, which kind of makes Kay a bit of a mess to look at. So let's establish some quick rules. Backstory cartoon stuff, we will totally acknowledge and pay lip service to. All scenes involving time travel and flashbacks are also referenced. And we will also be treating the timeline that is present at the end of Men in Black 3 as the true canonical ending to Kay's story, which means in order of events, we'll start at the third movie and then kind of work our way back through the second movie and then get to movie 1 and then movie 2 again and then movie 3.
Everybody got that?
Which means we are beginning Kay's starting alignment during the start of the time travel sequence in Men in Black 3. This movie is set in 1968, which means he has been an agent of the Men in Black for the past 8 years. During that time, he has also been described as laid-back, easygoing, and having a real problem with authority, by his own admittance.
He's got a real problem with authority.
So do I.
Weirdly enough, despite his comically by-the-books portrayal in the first few movies, we're going to start Agent K at chaotic good. And I know that sounds really weird, but it's actually really kind of neat and kind of interesting. But with all that out of the way, let's go.
We'll take it from here.
Following up on the death of an alien on Coney Island, Junior Agent K is dispatched to investigate before coming across a strange man, his partner from 2012, Jay. After Jay leapt at him, K knocks out the stranger and brings him back to MIB HQ to ask him for details. Lawful good.
A mess.
After receiving orders from the current head of MIB X, K goes to neuralyze Jay. When Jay finally admits that he's from the future to save the world, K stops the neuralization and brings Jay with him to find Boris with barely any questions asked. Chaotic good.
What do you mean you don't know?
Using Jay's knowledge of the future as a guide, Kay begins tracking down leads to find Boris. They interrogate aliens in the classic agent fashion, classy, and he does suspect that Jay is withholding information, and while Jay is technically a senior officer, Kay still finds a way to disobey an authority figure, lawful evil.
No questions, no answers, just be...
Targeting undercover Agent W, Andy Warhol, Kay learns that Boris is targeting aliens who were in Galaxy and one thought to be extinct is at the party. After promising to help fake his fellow agent's death, Kay works with Jay to protect him from Boris. Lawful good.
We need pie.
With no leads on Boris or Griffin, Kay takes Jay out for pie to clear their heads. Kay is very open and flummoxed that Jay has this perception of him of being a tired old grump. The two bond and are able to realize where Griffin is hiding. Neutral. After finding Griffin at the Met Stadium, Kay is given the ArcNet, the key factor in saving the world and one of the biggest contributions to the future. Boris snatches Griffin, but Kay and Jay work together to save him. Lawful good. With the ArcNet complete, Griffin saved, and Jay's information, Kay is ready to head to Cape Canaveral and put the ArcNet on the Apollo 11. However, Jay becomes incessant that Kay stays, even though Kay wants to naturally save the world and finish what he started. Even when Jay tries to pull rank and eventually reveal a future Boris could kill him, Kay is ready to go, death or not. He does punch Jay twice for lying to him though, but I'm just gonna give it a neutral good.
Just have to strap yourself in, hope for the best.
After a quick gear up at MIB HQ and asking Jay if he and O are together or not, Kay travels to Cape Canaveral via jetpack, per Griffin's insistence. Kay and Jay tell the truth, which allows an important colonel to let them onto the launch site. Lawful good.
Told you it still hasn't happened yet.
Kay quickly begins going up to the top of the Apollo 11 before he and Jay are double-teamed by Boris and Boris. While Jay battles 2012 Boris, Kay manages to obliterate 1969's Boris's arm and puts the ArcNet onto the Apollo, saving the world and the galaxy from being eaten by the Boglodites. Neutral good. With the job complete, Kay escapes the site and chats with the Colonel, offering him knowledge of the MIB. Unfortunately for everyone, 1969 Boris survived being flash-fried by the rockets and kills the Colonel. Despite knowing this isn't exactly how the future goes, Kay shoots Boris down. Chaotic good. Kay is discovered by the Colonel's son, a young James Edwards. Feeling responsible for what happened, Kay lies about the fate of his father and neuralyzes him. Promising to look after him, Kay watches as James grows into a man, but not before telling him that the Colonel died a hero. Chaotic good. Following the ArcNet incident, Junior Agent K is promoted, quickly making a name for himself in the MIB. It's unknown if he and O kept the relationship a continued secret or if they severed it. But in 1968, K is assigned to protect the Zarthinians and their princess, Lorana. K ignores his newest superior, Zed's warnings, and gets closer to Lorana. This may have conceived the light of Zartha. K, this is how Sith Lords are made, my guy. Since he protected the Zarthans by getting emotionally involved, even though he was supposed to remain neutral, this is chaotic good.
No choice, we must remain neutral.
Even with the Zarthan enemy Serlina looking for Lorana and the light, Kay once again disregards Zed's orders and tricks Serlina into thinking that the light has left Earth. In reality, he keeps the light with a fellow Zarthan on Earth, but not before Lorana dies. Kay then leaves several clues behind for himself about the truth of the light, and then neuralyzes himself of the truth to the point where he couldn't deneuralize that information so that the plot can happen. Let's give this chaotic good twice?
I like to keep my enemies confused. We all confused, Kay.
Kay continues working with the MIB into the 1990s, even potentially covering up Agent W's extraction. From the years of isolation and loss, Kay grows more bitter and hardened. He's partnered Agent D during this time, and the two maintain intergalactic peace. It's just tough when some aliens like Mikey break treaties and nosy Border Patrol agents cause problems. Lawful neutral... Shoot, let's give it 4 times? There's a lot of years in between these movies.
No, D. You won't.
So let's talk about the Neuralyzers. While Kay is wiping D's mind, Kay operates on the philosophy of using the Neuralyzer to keep the truth of intergalactic life secret, following getting peace for the universe and leaving the lives of people the same. He knows maybe one day people will be more accepting, but it'll take time. This time around, D is giving him a hint that he's ready to retire. Kay goes along with this and gives his partner some years of peace. Lawful good.
This, please.
After many years of sacrifice, Kay has decided to look for his replacement in the MIB. Tracking down James Edwards III, who has recently come into contact with an alien, Kay quickly contains the leak from escaping the NYPD and follows up on the case. He's honest with James and brings him along to identify a weapon. Lawful neutral.
I'm gonna count to 3.
Bringing James to Jeeves, a local alien merchant, Kay threatens Jeeves' information on the guns. Now, to be fair, Jeeves would survive losing his head, but Kay didn't tell James prior to shooting him. Plus, when he does get the information, he threatens Jeeves again, but tells him to get off Earth. Also, there's a police brutality joke somewhere in here, but, like, really though, lawful evil. Feeling like James is the right choice, Kay neuralyzes him of the most immediate events and takes him to a restaurant before giving him the location of MIB HQ. Even with several qualified personnel from other military branches, Kay thinks James is the perfect fit despite his problem with authority. Chaotic good.
I want to get some coffee. You want some coffee?
After Kay gives his seal of approval, he gives James the rundown of the MIB, then quickly proving the existence of aliens to the man. Once again, Kay is honest about the truth and even the catch on how the job is 24/7, and James will need to sever all human contact. You could argue that Kay already knows what the answer is, but he gives James the courtesy and freedom of choice to mull things over for a day. Neutral good. Also,
A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it.
Nat 20 scene. This scene, that is still relevant to this day, man. Like, that is so good. Such a good line. James returns and Kay quickly instates him. Erasing his history, Kay brings Jay onto the field. This includes getting information about why aliens are suddenly leaving the planet from a worried father. He is polite as Jay helps the delicate procedure. The miracle of childbirth, lawful neutral. Realizing that something is scaring the Earth-dwelling aliens, Kay gathers information from the best investigative reporters on the planet, the 1990s tabloids. Under the guise of an FBI agent, Kay talks with Edgar's wife as she had encountered a bug, whom we'll just call Edgar. He then neuralyzes her, giving a quick story before moving on to continue investigating, lawful neutral. Upon learning that Earth has gotten a bug, Kay explains the severity of the situation before investigating the morgues. They locate Edgar's targets and learn that he is after a galaxy on Orion's belt. Once again, he neuralyzes Laurel Weaver, the mortician, and orders a cleanup. Kay is trying to be brief, not looking to put too much emotion into this as they are on the clock, lawful neutral. So this scene is a quick one, but kind of important. If you take the full scope of Kay's life up to this point, as Jay investigates the lead on Orion's belt, which everyone is skeptical of, Kay takes a moment to look back at his first love. He's prepping himself to maybe, finally, have a moment of happiness after so many years of loss, and giving everything for his job. Even when Jay finally talks to him, Kay admits that it's hard to have lost and loved, even if you never loved at all. Neutral. With the army of a dead alien prince floating nearby and threatening the destruction of Earth, Kay quickly gets to work with Jay, arming up and giving Jay the noisy cricket to find the missing galaxy. Unfortunately, they run out of leads and miss Edgar. With time running out, Kay quickly begins shaking down Best Boy Alien Frank in public. Neutral good for following the investigation, but not telling Jay codes. Lawful evil for shaking down Frank. Letting Jay try and get the belt, Kay realizes Edgar is there and goes to help Jay. Despite their efforts, they lose Edgar, the galaxy, and Laurel, the mortician. Kay rightfully determines that Edgar is going to look for any port off planet and goes back to MIB HQ. Lawful neutral.
And you may want to put on a seatbelt.
With Jay's help finding where Edgar has to be going, Kay and Jay quickly rush to Queens and the last active UFO. Kay begins loosening up, ready for one last job with his replacement. They then blast Edgar out of the sky as he tries to escape, ready to arrest him and save the world. Lawful good. With time running out and unarmed, Kay jumps into Edgar and blasts him from the inside. With Jay and Laurel's help, they retrieve the galaxy, stop Edgar, and save the world. Chaotic good.
Always face it forward.
With the day saved and secure that Jay can handle himself, Kay is ready to retire, giving Jay the Neuralyzer and setting the day himself. Kay welcomes his new life. Neutral. The newly retired Kevin Brown awakens after falling into a coma. He reconnects with his former fiancée, the two marry, go to Vegas, and make up for lost time. However, not all is perfect. Kevin can never quite shake the feeling of déjà vu and feeling like there's something more. This eventually causes friction in his marriage, and he and his wife separate. He works for the post office, helping his small community. Neutral, then chaotic neutral. Chaotic neutral for the divorce, I mean. As postmaster, Kevin Brown works to help his happy community. He is approached by Agent J, who reveals that Kevin was a secret government agent who saved the world and is being brought back in. Kevin naturally dismisses this and thinks this is a joke, only for Jay to reveal that he's been around aliens the whole time. Neutral, but also totally true. You guys have no idea how weird the post office is.
Okay, Mr. YouTuber, you know too much.
Obviously unnerved, Kevin tries to get away from Jay, who then gets too personal and reveals he knows why Kevin's wife left him. After slugging him, Kevin eventually accepts Jay's offers to come back and get answers, but warns him he'll leave the moment he thinks it's a trick. Chaotic neutral.
Don't touch that!
Now back at MIB HQ, Kevin is kind of dragged around by Jay as the base is attacked by Selena. They are dragged into Jeeves, who has a DIY deneuralyzer that eventually gets Kevin's memories back. Neutral. Yeah, that's pretty messed up. Although comedy rules. Kevin, whose memories haven't returned yet, blasts Jeeves' head off and didn't realize that it would grow back. He then leaves despite all the evidence around him that aliens do exist, chaotic evil. His memories very slowly returning, Kay returns bit by bit and finally realizes the truth. He then returns and saves Jay from Serlena's forces. Lawful good. Honestly, this stretch of the movie is all kind of the same. Kay, not having any knowledge of the light of Zartha, retraces the clues he left for himself with Jay. He isn't happy that Jay hasn't neuralized Lorana as it breaks the rules, which is odd as he wasn't a big stickler for the rules, but I'll pin this on his memory still coming back to him, I guess. Lawful neutral.
Mysteries in history.
No, the girl, you're sweet on her.
With his memories fully unlocked, Kay remembers that Lorana is the light of Zartha and that the world will blow up if they don't get her out. He refuses to tell Jay, noticing that he's becoming attached to her and knowing it will hurt. Lawful neutral. With Lorana captured, Kay, Jay, and the Worms get armed and invade MIB HQ to stop Serlena's escape, rescue Lorana, and stop any aliens getting in their way. They quickly begin to escape, Kay insisting on driving despite the new controls and flashing anyone that sees a flying car, and Serlena in pursuit. Chaotic good.
No, I can't be.
You know things before they happen.
Finally, at Lorana's ship, Kay reveals Lorana's identity to both her and Jay. He knows it's hard for both, but he insists on getting Lorana to leave, never revealing the possibility to anyone that it could be his daughter, the only family he has left, that he's saying goodbye to. With Jay's help, they blast Serlena away and then neuralize everyone. Neutral good. Knowing Jay is sad that Lorana is gone, Kay tries to cheer him up by bringing the citizens of Locker C-18. He decides to stay on, returning to his life full-time. Chaotic good.
Good afternoon.
For 10 years, Kay works with Jay saving the world and protecting the galaxy. During this time, Kay loses one of his longest allies, Zed, lawful neutral. Let's give it 2 dings? Learning of some alien food contaminating humans, Kay goes with Jay following Zed's eulogy. Kay is getting physical and agitated, likely because he realizes Boris's time shenanigans will be happening soon. Still, there's no excuse to get slap-happy with an alien, chaotic evil. Discovering he's in an ambush courtesy of Boris the animal, Kay and Jay work quickly to take care of the situation. When Kay confronts Boris, he angrily says that he should have killed him back in 1969 so Colonel Janes wouldn't have died. Boris escapes, but not before proclaiming that Kay is already dead. Chaotic neutral. Worried about Boris and the oncoming truth of Colonel James, Kay tries to tell Jay that he's off active duty, something O eventually echoes. Kay is hurting from this and does attempt to call Jay and tell the truth, but can't bring himself to do it. Thinking Boris will come through the door, Kay grabs a gun and sits down, ready to face death. Kay is erased from time. At least for now. Chaotic neutral. After the plot of MIB3, Kay is restored and goes to a diner to wait for Jay. He confirms any timeline changes before Jay thanks him. Called for work, Kay and Jay continue to save the world. Lawful good. But not before Kay tips. Be like Kay, folks. Tip employees. It could save the world. Lawful good. Agent K, as he's shown in this series, is actually kind of depressing. Like, we as an audience are satisfied with what we got since we're looking at a comedy, haha, funny old guy, but like, he was a happy-go-lucky, jovial dude who, after 40 years of working as a pseudo-government agent, is jaded, joyless, and a workaholic who got dragged out of their happy retirement to keep working a job until, I don't know, he dies, I guess? Like, this dude has implied to have lost love like, what, 3-4 different ideal candidates for him, including his old girlfriend, twice as a matter of fact, Agent O, Princess Lorana. What exactly are we supposed to take away from this? Like, I know I'm definitely looking way too hard into this, but like, really, it's kind of sad that this guy who seems to be working for like seemingly nothing. Do MIB agents retire with any sort of pension? Do they get benefits? Or do we just assume that they either die in the field or die alone with nothing to show for it? Honestly, it seems like the ideal solution would be for them to travel to an alien world and retire there or something. At least he ends the movie on good terms with Jay and serves as a pseudo-father figure. Still, at the very least, maybe he will serve as a cautionary tale for Jay to get out while the going is good. And I don't know, sorry to end this on a bit of a bummer, but maybe someone in the comments can come up with a better takeaway. Like, someone brings some happy. I'll pin the happiest silver lining comment. How about that? I'll pin the happiest comment. What do you take away from Jay? Anyway, thank you to the patrons, and I'll see you next time.